Today we're so honored that we have Representative Maya with us. She's the Israeli ambassador in Taiwan. Hello.
Shalom. Hello.
Yeah, so we learned that you arrived in Taiwan in August this year.
Yeah.
So
I'm very new to Taiwan, only less than 3 months here with my family.
So how has it been for you, like professionally and personally, knowing that the nation of Israel is suffering so much and you're far away from your family here, and this is a serious war? How are you feeling? Is there anyone in your family in the army?
It's very difficult for me to be far from my family and my friends during this time. I have all this wish to help and to support them and to be for them. And then I'm so far away. And with the time differences, it's sometimes quite difficult to communicate. We have few family friends who are drafted to the military. We have very close friends that their son is in Gaza. He's serving in Gaza. I have friends who post, that they have been drafted now for more than 5 weeks. We're in close touch. I think that technology is very helpful in these days. Facebook, WhatsApp, and we have a lot of communication with the people. So this is very helpful, definitely. It's not easy to be far away.
Yeah, and Maya, we are so appreciative of you coming to Susan's channel and supporting her. I think
Israel, not supporting me.
Well, because she's supporting Israel, so it's hand in hand. I mean,
exactly.
I think in today's world, it's about finding partners. I mean, you cannot do even Gaza. I'm sure a lot of different parties are involved, and I would imagine that your job would not be easy as a diplomat and ambassador, because there is so much people are taking sides, and I mean Taiwan has been very supportive of Israel, but also because Taiwan doesn't happen to have a representation in the UN, so they're free. And obviously the UN was built so as to foster dialogue so that you can have peace, right? So as a diplomat, ambassador, how do you have peace? How do you eventually get to the world peace that everyone is looking for, with all these divisive opinions that's on the internet right now?
First, you're touching really the point. I truly believe, me as a diplomat, and I served also at the UN representing Israel for 4 years and negotiating, international agreements. And I see as my job as a diplomat is always to talk, always to negotiate, always to explain our positions. When there is a war, it means that we failed in our job. And we always need to go back as quickly as possible into discussion and to have really people talking to each other and to better understand each other. So this is really the goal, I think. And Israel has been wanting peace for such a long time, since we were established. And we had peace agreements, with Egypt and with Jordan. We gave land for that because land is not the issue. It's about us being able to live in peace with our neighbors. And we saw that during the last 3 years also, with Abraham Accords and all the peace agreements that we were having with UAE and with Bahrain and Sudan and Morocco. And we were on the verge, with Saudi Arabia. So there are a lot of things, again, because we want the peace so much. So how about if I will try to say that I think that it's not taking sides. You were mentioning before, different people take sides. I want people to understand that the the main side is actually the people who want peace, to live in security and in safety in their homes. And I truly believe that it's not only my wish as an Israeli, but it's also the Palestinians' wish. They also want to live in peace and security. And you live in Israel. You see, specifically in Jerusalem, you see the coexistence between Muslims and Jews and Christians, you know, so many religions and diversity. And it's part of our power to have that. So I think that the side is those to support those who want that, who wants the peace and security, that think about the future for our kids to have, you know, prosperous life, relaxed life, good life. This is what I wished for my kids. And then there is a minority, and it is really a minority of extremes. And when we have an extreme minority that want an Islamic state, that are calling for the annihilation, the destroy of the state of Israel, this is the problem. And this is what we have to fight. And this is the war against Hamas. Hamas is really, it's an extreme. And I think that if we keep that in mind, that it's both the Palestinians and the Israelis who are victims at the end of Hamas.
Yeah.
And once this rule, you know, that is really backwards. He wants, you know, Islamic State, like there was many years ago, you know, back in the Middle Ages. This is what they want. So we want to look forward for the future. And if we will support that, I think we're all on the same side. This is what we're wishing for.
And so obviously Hamas is a small fish, you know. I mean, to do something so daring, Hamas actually, I feel that it knew that it had backing. And the bigger brother, it's a lot of fingers are pointing to Iran. And when we look at the timing of the attack, obviously they knew that you know, Simchat Torah is a very, you know, sacred day. A lot of people will be off. There'll be a good time. But also, if you look at the macro picture, that there's this Saudi-Israel peace deal looming, and the biggest player that's going to lose in this seems to be Iran, and that's perhaps where he tell, okay, you know, we have to stop this. And in fact, it's interesting. This is my, you know, kind of analysis, but this Saudi-Israel peace deal is also a smaller picture in the bigger picture, which is, I mean, trying to connect from India. I mean, Netanyahu announced this in the UN, so it's not a big secret. He was, you know, trying to create this corridor, economic corridor from India all the way to Europe. So it's very much a contra to the Silk Road that China is doing. The region has that. So it seems that the major powers, you know, behind this an initiative, endeavor, and also against it. So you have any comments on that?
I think you gave really good points, you know, looking at this from the political, from geostrategical level, you know, between the superpowers, economic interest, energy interest. These are all correct. But I think that there is one thing that is lacking in this. And perhaps this is something that here for some of the people, you know, here in far Taiwan, it's a little bit difficult to understand. And that is the part of the religion. Because the religion part is a very critical part in understanding Middle East politics and our relationship. And things are not what they are now. These are maybe, you know, accelerators. You know, Israel and Saudi Arabia getting close, that was an acceleration. Why it happened now? Understanding that it was Simchat Torah, the Jewish holiday, is, you know, the exact date maybe. But understanding the underground level of religion, this is something that is very important to understand. And I want to say that there are 2 billion Muslims in the world, And I truly believe that the vast majority of them are peace-loving. They are pragmatic, they're tolerant. I served myself in Senegal for 3 years, which is a Muslim country. And we have diplomatic relations and we have cooperation. And if all Muslims in the world will be tolerant and friendly and kind and nice people like the Senegalese, we would have not have any problem. And I truly believe that most people want that. But there are some people in the Islam, and I will also say in all religions, in all societies, we always have minorities that affect badly about the society. Yeah. And I think the religious part here is something that is important for us to understand and to tackle. Not only understand, but also to tackle it. And it means that we need to see that the younger generation of both Jews, Muslims, Christians, they're all educated on tolerance, on values like tolerance, acceptance of diversity, freedom of religion. Different people have different opinions and it's fine. To have that, love, just the love and care and kindness for the others. This is so important. And I think that we need to make sure that that will be part of the next generation. Not the next generation, our young generation, the current one. So people will be educated differently to accept each other. And this is a strong part because currently part of the education system is more extreme religious, and it brings ideas of hate. And I think if we will not change that, we will keep on repeating the same patterns, and we need to think differently. We need to change something from the root on that.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting for you to know that we actually have a friend. He is from Iran, and then he was fed up, and then he decided to escape from Iran many years ago. And now he's married to an Israeli woman. He loves Israel. And he told us that even in Iran today, it's a poor country. People are fed up with the government. And 80% of the mosques there are empty because they don't want to hear the mullahs spreading, hate speech. They want life. They don't want to be controlled by the Islamic religion. So I thought it would be interesting for you to know this is happening. And I know from my personal experience, I went to a Jewish hospital here to deliver my son. He's 6 months now. And I saw Arabs there. And my doctor, he's a Jewish doctor. He makes no difference. Christian, Muslim, Jewish, doesn't matter. He's a doctor. His job is to help us give life. And that's it. And people need to see that. So Israel is a beautiful country, a country of coexistence. But I have a question for you. Do you feel the 21% Arab population in Israel should voice out more in times like this? Because they're also citizens, right? Do you have higher expectation for them now?
I will give two points of that. At the end, every person has his own identity. And I think that the October 7th massacre brought up a lot of questions for many people, that they are questioning themselves and doubting, what have we done wrong? How did we reach to that point? And I think this is true for Israelis. This is true for Arabs in Israel, and this is true for Jews all around the world, and perhaps many more others. And when a crisis like this happens, I will actually quote a very famous blogger, an Arab Israeli, Nas Daily.
Yeah.
You know him, and he also visited here in Taiwan, and he's amazing. I've been following him, and he's really great.
In Singapore as well.
And, when he was writing that for many years, he had that question of identity. Is he a Palestinian? Is he an Israeli? How should he, what is more than the other? And he was writing out in the opening, was saying, I understand now, and it needed this type of crisis for me to realize, first of all, I'm Israeli, and then I'm Palestinian. And I think he was saying that, and he was marking, he was voicing basically the values of which country, which reality do I want to live at? And when you ask yourself that, then I think for the majority of people, they will say, I want to live in a reality that respects me if I'm a woman, if I'm a man, if I'm an old person, a young one, I have my rights. If I'm a minority, I feel safe and protected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is the values that Israel offers, similar to Taiwan. This is what brings us together. We're liberal societies, contemporary societies. So, and I think that when you ask yourself this and you realize, oh, I do not want to live in an Islamic state under rules of Sharia. So that is one thing to say. And the second, what I think I'm lacking the most are more the voices of Islamic leaders, of imams, because religious leaders have a lot of power. Both you and I, we have only our words as our tools. But what we're saying is very important, because if we bring, in our words, seeds of hope, seeds of ideas for people to have ideas for something, then this is very meaningful. And I think religious leaders have that type of power. They can say things that will influence many. And if they will come out and say, this is not according to Islam, this brings a bad reputation for Islamic people. We are peace lovers. We want to live at peace and security. That will be a very strong message. And for this, I wish I would hear more. There are some, but not enough. So that will be more of the general population. I think that leaders have a lot of power, and I wish that they will use that correctly and wisely.
Yeah, I hope so too. But sometimes it's just because, like you said, it's a religion thing, and for them, it's so easy to side with, whoever follows the same religion. Therefore, like a imam, he might feel, oh, he needs to stand with not Israel, not the good guys, the ones with good values, but simply with Hamas, because it's the same religion. Then it's so hard for them. We have a friend, he lives very close to the refugee camp, Shafat or something. Shu'afat.
Yeah.
And then he speaks Arabic. He's a Christian, and his neighbors are all Jewish. And then every Friday they hear from the mosque opposite their street, and then they hear from the speakers from the mosque saying every Friday, kill the Jews, join Hamas. And his neighbors want to know, what the imam is saying. And then our friend translated, and then it's just like, how do you expect people in that kind of culture to break through and to be able to think on their own? It's so hard.
I agree. And independent thinking, and I think it's also part of the issues that we're seeing now on the media. It's very difficult, this part of the war is also on the media. It's not only on the ground in Gaza. It is actually on people's mind, on the way that people think. And it is very to change people's mind. This is why we're so important to continue and tell the truth. To continue and encourage people to think by themselves and question themselves, like what kind of world do you want to live at? What do you want to be surrounded and teach your children? And it's not easy questions, and I'm not sure a lot of people want to face that. But I think it's that, we are both mothers now. And this is something that I keep on thinking, what do I want to give my children? What type of values? And I want it to be positive. This is very important for me. And although sometimes they will find themselves in a minority or hear, hate messages, kill somebody, I'm really teaching them to question everything and really try to find within themselves what they believe at.
Yeah.
So this is important. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just lying in my bed last night thinking, oh, all the money that Hamas got so far. What if they really invested, instead of building 500 kilometers of tunnels, use it for schools, use it for shopping malls, something for people. But they chose not to, and then they're keeping the hostages probably in somewhere in the tunnel, because what we heard is like a city underneath, and that's why it's so hard for IDF to go in and to do ground operations. Too difficult. People cannot imagine how much money Hamas has stolen instead of helping.
I totally agree, and oh, he's so cute. I totally agree, and I think, if there are like messages that that are important for me, is first and foremost are the kidnapped people. Yeah. Because this is, we were just marking 1 month 2 days ago. I can't believe it's already 30 days that, children and grandparents and mothers are being kept, 241 people. Mm-hmm. And I was saying to a lot of the people here, it's not a political question. It's not a pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli. This is really humanitarian question. Yeah. And this is important because we civilized democracies or societies, we have rules of armed conflict. We have agreements about even how to fight a war.
Yeah.
So for example, it's okay to kill soldiers. It's okay in a war, and it's okay to kidnap or have prisoners of war, soldiers, but civilians you protect.
Yeah.
You don't harm civilians. And the way that Hamas has been treating, kidnapping, murdering inside Israeli territory, civilians deliberately, this is breaking all the rules. And this is why it's so important for people to speak up. Yeah. Because if you don't speak up and say, this is unacceptable, it means it's okay. If people are quiet and they stay silent, then it's fine. So they can continue like this. And then it happened in Israel this time. And then the next time it will happen in another country and in another country. So we need to protect civilians. So the first call I'm doing is really to release the hostages. Everything that we can do, every Mediterranean partner or friend that you have, it's so important to bring that message and to put the power on this. So this is the number one thing that I come across with the message. And then the second one I've been doing a lot is really to tell about the devastation in Israel. And I think that you feel it even more than I am. A lot of people are drafted to the military and we're still under attacks and going to the shelter.
Yeah.
And life, it's war. Life are not normal. It's a bit challenging to understand because here in Taiwan, everything is as usual. But the devastation has been really large, and 250,000 people are displaced. They don't live in their houses. They either been attacked or they were moved because the government wants to take care of them and make sure that they're safe. And we're trying to encourage. We have now this initiative about Adopt a Village, which will go directly to one of the villages that was damaged and targeted on October 7. And with Taiwan, Taiwan chose one village, Kfar Aza. And we will collaborate with them, and we will try to focus all of our efforts specifically to that village, to really bring everything that we can, because I think for people it will be much more personal, because then when you will come to visit Israel, and I hope the war will be over soon, and and people will come again to visit us, they will be able to come to Kfar Aza and really see in their own eyes how they contributed to bring back the life and the happiness to this one small village. Because about 100 of its residents were either murdered or kidnapped in Gaza, and about 40 buildings have been damaged. So, this is something that with all the efforts, concentrated efforts by Taiwanese communities, I think we can make a huge difference.
How do people donate?
So how to donate? So we have here, we're very fortunate to have Keren Hayesod here operating in Taiwan. And it's very easy to donate through them. And then you know that every dollar that you're putting will go directly to Kfar Aza and to the people. And we want to really make sure that they will go directly to the children, to the families, to the people who need it most. And I think, there is a saying I really believe at, and that is, you create something out of nothing. And I think that now there's a lot of emptiness in that village. And I really hope that with a joint effort, we can make something out of it, and it will be, beautiful and green again. So I've been working on that a lot.
So I got one more final question, I guess. So being Asia, I'm not so sure about in Taiwan, but especially in Singapore, for example, there's this common understanding. You don't talk about religion, and you just mentioned that this is a key factor in knowing the conflict. So so what? How do you go about to raise this sensitive topic about religion in Asia?
Yeah. First of all, Asia, it's a very general and it's very different. I lived in Beijing, I lived in Thailand, now I live in Taipei, and each one is different. And in some places, it's fine to talk about religion. India, for example, it is a very spoken issue to be discussed because there is a huge Muslim community in a Buddhist country. So it really differentiates. But I think that for me specifically here, sometimes it's only necessary just to mention as a headline, there is this topic and it's complicated. And I will say, for example, if I'm a foreigner and I'm coming and I'm asking you to explain to me China-Taiwan relations, it's complicated relations. It will take you, some time. And maybe even after you will explain, it will still be a bit challenging for me to understand all the nuances. So sometimes it's the same. I will say, religion in the Middle East is a complex issue. You can go and study, and have your PhD on this and have, a whole degree, but just be aware that there is something that is more than just political. Yeah. It's more than just land. It's more than just borders. It is more than just, Jerusalem, the question of Jerusalem and who will rule that. There are deeper questions and notions in that. And sometimes it's enough. People don't, again, if they're not really involved, then I will ask, so what is the level that you need to understand something? And we can go deeper, but maybe it's just enough to know that there is something more. I don't fully understand it, but I understand it plays an important role in that conflict. Yeah. I've been talking to few of the Christian communities. I'm very open to meet, many other communities. I'm very available and here. First of all, it gave me a lot of strength. This past month has been very challenging, also on a personal level. It's been up and down, and I have moments that I'm strong and I have moments that I'm very fearful. And meeting, some of the Christian communities here has been tremendous support. So I've been consistent on moving that message also to Israel. And please pray. This is so important, especially pray, for the Israelis kidnapped and held in Gaza, that they will return quickly. Yeah. And please pray for peace and security for both Israelis and Palestinians, that we will have a good future together.
Yeah. And for those who can donate to help building up the village that was destroyed by Hamas.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
time.
תודה רבה. זה היה כיף.
Yeah,谢谢。